following content may contain visuals that are disturbing, graphic, or sensitive in nature. Viewer discretion is advised. This material is intended for mature audiences and may not be suitable for all viewers. Please exercise caution while watching, and if you find such content distressing, we recommend discontinuing viewing. This disclaimer is provided to ensure awareness and to prioritize viewer well-being.
Hello and welcome to News 9. I'm Verghese Abraham. First up, let's take a look at what is happening when it comes to the war between Israel and Hamas. The war between Israel and Hamas has entered the 41st day. Let's take a look at the top developments with regards to the fighting that is happening in West Asia. Now, what we understand is that the fighting continues at Al-Shifa Hospital in Gaza. Israeli tanks and soldiers have searched Al-Shifa Hospital compound. Israel's military releases proof of Hamas's weapons at the hospital. In fact, the kind of weapons that was there, that was found were firearms, flak jackets and other light equipment. Meanwhile, UN Security Council adopts a resolution calling for humanitarian pauses. UN Human Rights Office warns of fuel depletion in Gaza. Israel asked some residents of Khan Yunis to evacuate. 11,500 Palestinians and 1,200 Israelis have been killed in this war so far. The Israeli army released a video claiming to depict the delivery of aid to Al-Shifa Hospital, stating that it was part of their ongoing operations against Hamas. The hospital in Gaza City has been a primary target in the ground operation, with Israeli forces alleging that Hamas operators are inside the Al-Shifa hospital and it was being used as a key headquarter with tunnels underneath, a claim that has been denied by Hamas. Troops entered the hospitals, conducting searches in rooms and basement after days of siege, raising global concerns about the safety of trapped civilians. Israel asserted that its forces engaged in a confrontation with the fighters outside the hospital, killed some and brought medical supplies for those inside. Well, Israeli troops entered Gaza's biggest hospital and were searching its rooms and basement. Witnesses said that amid global alarm, there were huge explosions that was heard inside, and the basement area was the place where the action took place. Take a look.
Israel released a video said to show its troops entering Gaza's biggest hospital, Al-Shifa, on Wednesday. It says Hamas fighters have the beating heart of their operations in a headquarters in tunnels beneath it, and that troops uncovered unspecified weapons and terror infrastructure inside the hospital compound after killing fighters in a clash outside. Hamas denies this. The Israeli army also said there had been no fighting and no friction with civilians, patients or staff. This video, released by the Gaza Health Ministry on Wednesday, but shot in previous days, is said to show the aftermath of a recent Israeli strike on the hospital. Medics are seen trying to evacuate patients from a ward hit by shelling. It also shows the premature babies that Gaza's Health Ministry now says are being transferred from their incubators to another area in the hospital that still had some electricity. Martin Griffiths is the UN aid chief.
I understand the Israelis' concern for trying to find the leadership of Hamas. That's not our problem. Our problem is protecting the people of Gaza from what's been visited upon them.
Gaza officials say many patients, including 3 newborn babies, died in recent days as a result of Israel's encirclement of the facility. Staff are without power to operate basic medical equipment. Dr. Ahmed El-Mokhalalati spoke to Reuters by phone from inside the hospital. Gunshots could be heard in the background.
In the hospital, we can hear continuous shooting.
He said staff were hiding as fighting unfolded outside the hospital overnight, and that the Israelis had targeted the hospital directly.
But again, it's totally scary situation.
Complex and sensitive.
Israeli army spokesperson Daniel Hagari said the army has facilitated wide-scale evacuation of the hospital.
IDF forces are carrying out a precise and targeted operation against Hamas in a specified area in the Shifa hospital.
Israel had given Hamas a 12-hour deadline to stop military activity in the hospital. It said, unfortunately, it did not. This video released by the Israeli army was said to show medical supplies being brought in for those inside. The United States said on Tuesday that its own intelligence supported Israel's conclusions about the presence of a Hamas headquarters at Al-Shifa. Izzat El-Rashek, member of the Hamas political office and media officer, said in a video by the militant group that makes American President Biden a full participant of this occupation and this crime. Israel launched its campaign to annihilate Hamas after it rampaged through Israeli towns on October 7th. About 1,200 people were killed, according to Israel. Since then, Israel has put Gaza under siege. Gaza health officials say more than 11,000 Palestinians are confirmed killed.
Israeli troops found weapons, combat gear and technological equipment in the Al-Shifa hospital in the Gaza Strip and are continuing their search of the complex. Here is more.
At this stage, the forces are sweeping the area, scanning and locating weapons of war and terrorist tunnels. IDF forces continue to operate at this hour in a targeted manner in Shifa Hospital. We launched this operation last night on Shifa, a location that we knew from intelligence held terrorist infrastructure, and now we are deepening the operation. In the hospital, we found weapons, intelligence, military technology, and military equipment. Additionally, an operational command center and technological assets belonging to Hamas. The technology and the materials have been sent to intelligence for inspection and review. Our forces continue to operate inside the hospital in a targeted fashion based on our intelligence to uncover and eliminate terrorist activity in the hospital.
Lieutenant Colonel Jonathan Connicus, IDF international spokesperson, recently shared a video from inside Al-Shifa hospital in Gaza. The footage reveals significant amounts of Hamas ammunition alongside with military supplies and intelligence documents. Notably, all CCTV cameras within the hospital were deliberately covered with black tape. The ammunition is concealed behind MRI machines and in various chambers throughout the hospital. Take a look.
Shalom everyone, Lieutenant Colonel Jonathan from the IDF here. I am in the Shifa hospital, as you can see from the sign behind me, and as you can clearly see from the building. We are going to do a one-shot video. One shot, no editing, of all of the evidence that we have found just now in this building of the Shifa hospital. We're inside the MRI center of the Shifa hospital. Israeli troops breached here a few hours ago, and we have cleared the area, make sure that it's safe. And a few of the most interesting things that we have found totally confirm, without any doubt, that Hamas systematically uses hospitals in their military operations in violation of international law. And what we have found, I think, is only the tip of the iceberg. Let me show you a few examples. Security cameras have been obstructed. All of the security cameras are covered, and this isn't the only one. You'll see the rest of them here. Follow me as we go in, and we will see the MRI center and see the weapons that Hamas has hidden inside. This is where patients come in order to get MRI services. We'll proceed into a more secluded area. And the lighting here is out, so we're using flashlights. We're now, as you can see, in an MRI room. I don't know when this was used the last time. But it is definitely an MRI machine. And if you follow me behind the MRI machine, I'll show you what our troops exposed just minutes ago. In military terms, this is a grab bag. Grab and go of a Hamas combatant, and if you zoom in and we get some light over here, what you will be able to see is military equipment. There is an AK-47, there are cartridges, ammo, there are grenades in here, of course, uniformed, and all of this was hidden very conveniently, secretly behind the MRI machine. On the other side, we found a backpack with what appears to be very important intelligence, including a laptop, and we'll show you that momentarily. Let's go see the next room. So we're still in the MRI center. The backpack was found in here, and it was also hidden behind the MRI machine. As you can see, the rest of the equipment here is proper hospital equipment, right? Bandages and medical gear. It seems as if there's no real shortage because there's a lot of equipment here, but we'll leave that for another discussion. Let's go see weapons and other prohibited items. As we walk through the main corridor here, our troops did a preliminary search of the area. We tried to uncover the cameras, but all of the cameras have been obstructed. You can see there's black tape covering it. And when our troops opened this closet here, which is in the main part of the clinic, this is what they found. These weapons have absolutely no business being inside a hospital. The only reason they're here is because Hamas put them here, because they use this place, like many other hospitals and ambulances and sensitive facilities inside the Gaza Strip, for their illicit military purposes. So there's Kalashnikov rifles here, even ammunition. And let's go see the next part of the of what we have here. Another MRI machine. Another MRI machine where behind it we also found contraband similar to what you saw in the other areas. And let's go see the last thing, which is more related to intelligence, which I think we will be able to extract quite a lot of interesting intelligence from. If you can see, follow me. Up here on top of a spare part of the MRI department, we found another grab bag. It's empty because we emptied it and cleared it so that we could use and see it. So this is where we found it, and here are the contents of the bag. The contents of the bag are full military kit for one Hamas terrorist. A live grenade, ammunition, fighting vest with insignia, boots, and of course uniforms, and last but not least, standard AK-47. Inside the hospital, hidden in a secluded area, take a look at this door here. Blast-proof door, which is part of the clinic and part of the infrastructure of the hospital. Everything else looks like a hospital, only this part doesn't. Last part. Now we will see something that our Intel researchers are looking into. Hold on, before we go on, let's have a look at what we found inside the very same cabinet that houses medical equipment. You can see all kinds of standard military medical stuff. We found another go-to bag, this bag here. And again, we opened it up in order to make sure that it's safe to touch and show. So please don't give me any of that. You opened it up and you placed it there. This is the bag that we found, and this is the stuff that was in it. Now, there's insignia, military insignia, a knife. For those of you who read Arabic, you'll be able to understand what it says here. But it's Hamas, the military wing, Kataib al-Qassam, of course a vest with equipment, and as always, an AK-47, standard gear, grab and go, which they thought would be a good place to store inside a hospital. And the last item, which I'm sure will be very interesting to analyze, is a laptop. We found it in the MRI room. This is how the laptop looks. I don't know who it belonged to, but now it is being analyzed by our Intel people. Tactical radio communications, which we will analyze. Lots of disks, which will be analyzed. And a computer, which at first glance already provides a lot of incriminating.
Video released by Gaza's Ministry of Health on November 15th and shot at least a day earlier showed medics wheeling patients on stretchers through smoke-filled hallways at Al-Shifa Hospital in Gaza City. On Wednesday, Israeli troops went into Shifa Hospital, searching rooms and the basement, according to witnesses. The siege sparked global concerns following Israel's claim of a deadly clash at the hospital gates. Take a look.
The medical teams are taking care of the situation because of the heavy dust. They are suffocating from this dust debris caused by the shell that was fired on the specialities building. So it is a direct targeting of the specialities building. Patients are being evacuated, who were evacuated in the first place from intensive care to the hallways. It is a very difficult and complicated situation. Patients are now being evacuated away from the dust and smoke that caused the suffocation of injured people. Patients are being evacuated with difficulty. Heavy dust is everywhere.
U.S. public support for Israel's war against Hamas militants in Gaza is eroding, and most Americans think Israel should call a ceasefire to a conflict that has ballooned into a humanitarian crisis. Now, according to new Reuters Ipsos poll, 32% of respondents say that the United States should support Israel when asked what role the United States should take in the fighting. That was down from 41% who said U.S. should back Israel in the Reuters Ipsos poll that was conducted in October. The share saying that the U.S. should be a neutral mediator rose to 39% in the new poll from 27% a month earlier. 4% of the respondents in the poll said that the U.S. should support Palestinians, and 15% said that the United States shouldn't be involved at all. Both similar readings were taken a month ago. The drop in U.S. support seen in the new poll among both Democrats and Republicans, are especially among older respondents, follows weeks of heavy Israeli bombardment and ground combat against Hamas in Gaza in retaliation for the October 7th rampage by the Islamist terrorists in southern Israel. About 1,200 people were killed and around 240 were taken hostage. Meanwhile, Qatari mediators are aiming to broker a deal between Hamas and Israel for a 3-day ceasefire. The proposal includes releasing around 50 civilian hostages from Gaza and some Palestinian women and children from Israeli jails. Negotiations are ongoing. This deal could also require Hamas to provide a list of names of remaining hostages. It would mark the biggest release in hostages held by Hamas since the terrorist group burst over the Gaza border and attacked parts of Israel and took hostages into the enclave. Reports observe that Hamas has agreed to the general outlines of this deal, but Israel has not, and it is still negotiating over the details. Well, moving on, Presidents Biden and Xi pledged to ease tensions between the United States and China, marking their first in-person meeting in over a year. The discussions covered trade, climate, military actions, and numerous contentious issues such as fentanyl production, conflicts in South China Sea, Israel-Hamas war, Taiwan, Ukraine, and alleged election interference. Biden emphasized the importance of competition, not escalating into conflict. Reports indicate that the talks were direct, with more extensive exchanges compared to their previous meetings. Now, Biden is expected to request China to use its influence over Iran to try to prevent an escalation of the violence in West Asia in response to the Israel-Hamas war. The president is also expected to bring up alleged Chinese operations to influence elections and human rights concerns, but leaders were forthright, with Xi urging the U.S. to avoid suppressing or containing China.
I'm pleased to announce that after many years of being on hold, we are restarting cooperation between the United States and PRC on counter-narcotics. In 2019, you may remember, China took action to greatly reduce the amount of fentanyl shipped directly from China to the United States. But in the years since that time, the challenge has evolved from finished fentanyl to fentanyl chemical ingredients and pill presses, which are being shipped without control. And by the way, some of these pills are being inserted in other drugs like cocaine. A lot of people are dying. More people in the United States between the ages of 18 and 49 die from fentanyl than from guns, car accidents, or any other cause, period. So today, with this new understanding, we're taking action to significantly reduce the flow of precursor chemicals and pill presses from China to the Western Hemisphere. It's going to save lives, and I appreciate President Xi's commitment on this issue. From China to the United States. But in the years since that time, the challenge has evolved from finished fentanyl to fentanyl chemical ingredients and pill presses, which are being shipped without control. We're reassuming military to military contacts, direct contacts. As a lot of you press know who follow this, that's been cut off, and it's been very worrisome. That's how accidents happen, misunderstandings. So we're back to direct, open, clear, direct communications on a direct basis. Vital miscalculations on either side can cause real trouble with a country like China or any other major country. And so I think we're made real progress there as well. And thirdly, we're going to get our experts together to discuss risk and safety issues associated with artificial intelligence. As many of you who travel with me around the world, almost everywhere I go, every major leader wants to talk about the impact of artificial intelligence. These are tangible steps in the right direction to determine what's useful and what's not useful, what's dangerous and what's acceptable. Moreover, there are evidence of cases that I've made all along. The United States will continue to compete vigorously with the PRC, but will manage that competition responsibly so it doesn't veer into conflict or accidental conflict. And where it's possible, where our interests coincide, we're going to work together like we did on fentanyl. That's what the world expects of us. The rest of the world expects, not just in people in China and the United States, but the rest of the world expects that of us. And that's what the United States is going to be doing.
External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar said that the Indian government is not ruling out a probe linked to the killing of Khalistani terrorist Hardeep Singh Nijjar. He called on the Canadian government to provide evidence supporting its claim of Indian agents' involvement in Nijjar's killing. Jaishankar's statement comes nearly 2 months after Trudeau government expelled a senior Indian diplomat from Canada, citing the alleged role of the Indian government in the killing of Khalistani extremist and Tiger Force chief Nijjar. Speaking in United Kingdom, Jaishankar emphasized that Canada has not shared any evidence with India to substantiate its allegations.
You know, he has a track record which is there in the social media. And that track record is a pretty graphic one. So I would leave everybody to make their judgment when, you know, about a person whose pictures are there with weapons, who has taken positions. I mean, the positions are not secret. They are very public positions. Yeah. But my response, you know, to what Prime Minister Trudeau said is that we have told the Canadians, look, I mean, first of all, because you got to understand the context. The context is that in Canada, we feel that the Canadian politics has given space to violent and extreme political opinions, which advocate separatism from India, including through violent means. And these people have been accommodated in Canadian politics. They are given the freedom to articulate their views. And not just that, it had come to a situation where the diplomats of my country, including the High Commissioner, we've had attacks on the High Commission, smoke bombs thrown at the High Commission. My Consul General and other diplomats were intimidated in public, on record, with no action taken by those who did this. This is a country where there is a previous history. For those who would be familiar with Lockerbie, we had a much bigger incident when an Air India plane, there were bombs put, in fact, on two planes. One fortunately landed before when the bomb went off, but the other one, there were 327 people who died when the plane crashed off Ireland. So given all this, I think it was important that, a country like Canada, I mean, they are a democracy, you're a democracy, they are a democracy.
Rescue operation to save 40 men trapped in an under-construction tunnel in Uttarakhand continued for the 5th consecutive day. Let's take a look at the latest developments on the issue and the operations that are being carried out on the 5th day. 40 workers are still trapped in the tunnel. A heavy drilling machine was airlifted for the rescue operations. The plan is to use the American auger machine to drill through the rubble. The 10-hour operation will commence once the new drilling machine is operationalized. Meanwhile, workers continue with their protests outside the tunnel. Indian authorities are consulting with the Thai company which rescued children trapped in a cave back in 2018. The operation to save 40 men trapped in an under-construction tunnel in Uttarkashi continued for the 5th consecutive day. The men have been trapped for almost 80 hours, and according to the Chief Medical Officer of Uttarkashi, RCS Panwar, there are some concerns regarding their health, with some workers complaining of nausea, minor headaches, anxiety and gastritis. As for the rescue operation, a heavy drilling machine was airlifted from Delhi to replace the failed equipment which was being used earlier to create a passage for the 40 workers trapped in an under-construction tunnel that collapsed 5 days ago. The American auger machine is being put into service amid apprehension by the workers at the site on the progress of the rescue operation that was taking place. The police, SDRF and NDRF are involved in the rescue operations. The IAF has also been placed on standby for aerial support for transport and rescue equipment. Now, the authorities have approached the Thai company that rescued children from a flooded cave in 2018 and is consulting with them. The company had rescued 12 boys from a junior football team and their coach who were trapped for more than 2 weeks in the Tham Luang cave complex. The workers trapped inside the tunnel are laborers hailing from the states of Bihar, Jharkhand, Uttar Pradesh, West Bengal, Odisha, Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh, according to the District Emergency Operations Center.
जो अभी उस मशीन जो आई है ये सेना के विशेष विमानों से आई है। अभी तक 2 विमान उतर चुके हैं और उनका जो सामान है उसका ट्रांसपोर्टेशन चल रहा है और शीघ्र ही तीसरा विमान भी लैंडिंग की उम्मीद है। और एक बार जब सारा सामान यहाँ ट्रांसपोर्ट हो जाएगा उसकी असेंबली होगी। असेंबली में जो समय लगेगा अभी NHI DCL के अधिकारियों ने बताया है कि 4-5 घंटे का समय लगने की उसमें उम्मीद है और उसके तुरंत बाद मशीन ऑपरेशनल हो जाएगी। हमें उम्मीद है कि आज रात्रि से ही कार्य प्रारंभ हो जाएगा। बिल्कुल यह कार्य सुलभ हो और इसको गति मिले, इसीलिए इतना बड़ा ये एफर्ट किया गया है और बहुत हैवी मशीनरी है ये और रेट ऑफ इसकी ड्रिलिंग फास्ट है और कार्य को जल्दी पूरा किया जा सके इसके लिए ये मशीन मंगाई गई है और लगातार भारत सरकार भी इसमें मॉनिटरिंग कर रही है, राज्य सरकार भी मॉनिटरिंग कर रही है और हम सबका एक साझा प्रयास है कि इस ऑपरेशन को जल्दी से जल्दी और सुरक्षित तरीके से पूर्ण करें।
हालिया अपडेट ये है कि कल से जो हमने कोशिश की थी, एक ऑगर लगाया था। ऑगर एक मशीन होती है जिससे 800 डाया के उसमें पाइप MS पाइप से हम ड्रिल करते जाते हैं और मिट्टी निकालते जाते हैं ताकि 800 mm डाया के अंदर से हम लोगों को बाहर निकाल सके। ये हम एक टनल बनाने की कोशिश चल रही है। हमने देखा कुछ कार्य उससे थोड़ा धीरे हो रहा है क्योंकि जो मशीन थी वो उसका रेट बहुत कम था। तो इसके लिए हमने एक अमेरिकन ऑगर करके मशीन है वो हमने रिक्विजिशन किया है जो कि दिल्ली से आ चुकी है। हमने एयरलिफ्ट कराया तो हमें वायुसेना ने, भारतीय वायुसेना ने हमें सहायता की। 3 हमें उनने हरक्यूलिस 130 एयरक्राफ्ट हमें दिया, उससे वो मशीनें आ चुकी हैं। जैसे आप देखेंगे पीछे में कुछ पार्ट्स आ चुके हैं, 3 डिफरेंट एयरक्राफ्ट में आ रहे हैं। और साथ ही जो हमारा प्रशासन है यहाँ का, जो उत्तराखंड का, वो भी हमारे साथ लगे हुए हैं। जितने क्लियरेंस करना है सारा वो हमें प्रदान कर रहे हैं। और किसी भी तरह की जो चीज़ होती है, डीएम साहब हमारे साथ हमेशा बने हुए हैं, तो कोई भी चीज़ होती है हम एक साथ कोऑर्डिनेट करके उसको हम कर रहे हैं। जो पहले हमने 2 पाइप डाले थे जिससे एक से हवा जाती है और एक से खाना जाता है, तो खाना बड़े छोटे मात्रा में जा रहा था। तो हमने सोचा कि एक और रिडंडेंसी क्रिएट किया जाए। तो अब 4 mm का था, 4 इंचेस का था, हमने 6 इंचेस का एक पाइप डाल रहे हैं जो 60 मीटर का है। 30 मीटर हो चुका है, वही मैं इंश्योर करके आया कि 30 हो गया। अगले 2 से 3 घंटे में वो 60 मीटर पूरा अंदर चला गया। खाना में देखिए जनरली उनको जो पसंद आ रहा है, तो हम दाल चावल तो नहीं पहुंचा सकते, तो मुरमुरे हैं, ड्राई फ्रूट्स हैं, फिर हमने अंकुरित किए हुए दाल है, चावल है, इस तरह की चीज़ें हम उनको पहुंचा रहे हैं। वाटर जूसेस नहीं, वाटर पे पहुंचा रहे हैं क्योंकि जूसेस हमें अभी रिकमेंड नहीं किया गया कि जूसेस वगैरह ना। सब सुरक्षित है, बिल्कुल सुरक्षित है। बाहर दूसरे प्रदेश से भी, जैसे मैं झारखंड का हूँ, झारखंड से भी अधिकारी हैं, IAS अधिकारी आए, वो भी यहाँ से देख के जा रहे हैं। उनसे हमने बातें कराई हैं कि वो ठीक है, और वो जानकर उनको खुशी हो रही कि हमारे स्टेट से लोग आते हैं। तो ऐसे ही जहाँ जहाँ से इनके रिश्तेदार आ रहे हैं उनने हमने ठहरने की व्यवस्था कराई गई है। हैप्पीनेस तो नहीं, एक संतुष्टि की आपके लिए हम खड़े हैं, हम आपको निकाल लेंगे, ये भरोसा हम उसको दे रहे हैं। लगातार उनसे बात करे जा रहे हैं। देखिए टोटल जो लेंथ इसका बनना है 4.5 किलोमीटर। जहाँ से हम खड़े हैं ये वाला जो पोर्टल है सिलक्यारा का है, और बरकोट का पोर्टल इसके पीछे साइड, तो दोनों तरफ से खुदाई की जाती है। तो वहाँ से करीब आपको समझ लीजिए 1.7 किलोमीटर वहाँ से आ गए। यहाँ से करीब 2 सवा 2 चले, तो बीच में 500 मीटर की जगह बची हुई है। लेकिन जहाँ से ये ट्रैप हुए वहाँ से लेके पीछे तक की जगह करीब 2 किलोमीटर है। तो अगर हम सोचें कि क्लॉस्ट्रोफोबिक हो रहा है या उनको हवा नहीं है, लाइट भी है, पानी है, 2 किलोमीटर की जगह है। बल्कि एक बार जब हम किसी से बात कर रहे थे, बात करने की कोशिश कर रहे थे, तो कहा उनने कि भाई वो थोड़ी देर के लिए गए हुए हैं। तो ऐसी कोई चिंता नहीं है, बड़े आश्वस्त ढंग से है वो और सुरक्षित। मलबा कल तक 40 था, लेकिन वो धीरे धीरे, फ्रेजाइल नेचर है इसका, बढ़ता जा रहा है। तो करीब 60 से 70 के बीच में अप्रॉक्सीमेटली। देखिए एग्जैक्टली मैं आपको टाइमलाइन नहीं बता सकता हूँ, लेकिन उसकी जो गति है एक्सकवेट करने की, वो है करीब 5 मीटर प्रति घंटा। अब देखिए जब ये होता है कि ये आप 6-6 मीटर, 10-10 मीटर के पाइप लगाते जाते हैं, फिर उसके बाद उसको वेल्ड करना पड़ता है। तो उसमें जो टाइम जाएगा वो हम कैलकुलेट अभी नहीं कर पा रहे हैं। उसमें हो सकता है थोड़ा सा ज़्यादा समय लगे, लेकिन 5 मीटर प्रति घंटा के हिसाब से लगातार पूरी लिस्ट है हमारे पास। 40 के 40 जो वहाँ पर भाई लोग हैं हमारे, और सबसे बात की, सबको इन्फॉर्मेशन दिया। कई के रिश्तेदार से बात भी कराई हमने यहाँ पर, जो आ सकते हैं, बात कर सकते हैं, और जो आ रहे हैं उनके लिए ठहरने की व्यवस्था भी की।
मशीन फेलियर नहीं है, मशीन की कैपेसिटी है 45 मीटर लॉन्ग बोरिंग करने की। धीरे धीरे इनका जो, जब शुरू में इनका मलबा गिरा था वो 25 से 30 मीटर गिरा। 25 से 30 मीटर अगर ये स्टे कर जाता तो वो मशीन फेलियर नहीं थी। अब इनका मलबा हो गया 70 मीटर। ये मलबा पिछले 12, 13, 14 तारीख तक 6 बार ऊपर से गिर चुका है। गिर के उसका स्पैन जो है वो 70 मीटर हो गया है। मेरी मशीन 70 मीटर तक काम नहीं कर सकती, मेरी मशीन 45 मीटर तक काम कर सकती है। इसलिए उस मशीन को हटा के सरकार द्वारा, भारत सरकार द्वारा एक दूसरी बड़ी मशीन जिसकी कैपेसिटी अबाउट 70 मीटर है वो अरेंज की गई। और मशीन को रात को 4 बजे रोकने का ये मकसद बिल्कुल नहीं है कि मशीन फेलियर है। मशीन काम कर रही थी, लेकिन जो मशीन अब आ रही है उसके लिए इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर तैयार करने के लिए 10 से 15 घंटे की आवश्यकता थी। इसलिए उस मशीन को हटाकर दूसरी मशीन के लिए इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर हमने तैयार कर दिया।
Well, that's all in this edition of News 9's Bulletin, but stay tuned to News 9 for further updates.
Literally every major power in the world is gearing up with its own digital currency. And so is India. But India's